What's up, y'all? All right, welcome to the April show. Welcome to the April show. Today, the technique is parting wings. Parting wings. So, you know, the look of the show is a little different here. You know, originally we had Alfred Magnan and James Bennett planned, and unfortunately, Alfred, we're all thinking about you, pal. You know, Alfred, you know, he caught COVID, so hopefully you're doing just fine. You know, and James apparently hyperextended his elbow yesterday, is in a sling, not doing well. So we'll have those gentlemen back on again in you know, a couple months. We already have some good guests booked for next month. I'm not going to tell you who, but pretty good next month. But today's awesome. Today's awesome. So what do we have? Number one, we have a dude that absolutely everybody loves. Absolutely everybody loves, and he's on the show all the time, but there's just going to be more of them. Just going to be more of them. So he's not just going to cut into his dad's slot. He has his own slot, you know. And then, how cool is this? How cool is this? One, two, first person to be on 3 times as a guest host, okay? What an awesome guy. What an awesome guy. We called him last minute because James got hurt yesterday, and Larry was like, yeah, cool, I can do it. Because he's an awesome guy and a super fun follow on Facebook, all right, or TikTok. So check him out. He's awesome. All right, so let's get started. Parting wings is the technique. Our first presenter is in holiday out in Spain. My good friend, Mr. Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody. Hello from Spain. We are on holiday in the beach, and the COVID is more or less okay. Okay, so I want to start. This is my student, Yvette. Okay, he helped me with the technique parting wings. Okay, so remember, parting wings. Wing is the elbow part. We separate the arm. Okay, he pushed me, and when he pushed me, I go back. It's very important to think in this connection of orange, okay? My hand is here, not here, okay? He push me, I up my hand, okay? I need to thinking about how we need to put the hand. If I put the hand in this way, if he close my hand, I don't have a power to take in this way, okay? He push me, I cannot do this. But if I change, not in this way, only diagonal, I am working with the triceps. And I have more power to continue if the case that he wants to close the hand, okay? So I do this, and I check with the hand, okay? Now some people do this. I don't do this move, okay? I go directly to the ribs, okay? With this part of the hand. Okay, so I try to repeat. I go back, neutral bow, the body mechanic, neutral bow, forward bow, neutral bow, forward bow. Who is the form? Long one. Long one we take neutral bow, forward bow, neutral bow, forward bow. We are all the time playing with this move, okay? So we need to go to long one to do the technique correct, okay? This is the one thing that we need to think in, okay? One step back, up, and then I need to check, because if I put in this way, I don't have the power because the shoulder are working. I don't have the power with the shoulder when we are working in this way, okay? I need to do no forward bow, neutral bow, and in diagonal my hand, no in forward bow, okay? So step back, neutral bow, diagonal my hand, and now I continue to do this move. Think, if I do this move, too long the circle, you can tap, this hand can hit me, okay? So I need to don't go with the hand here, take a beer, with the hand here and hit here, okay? I push and go directly in this move. Take my hand. Don't do this because you can have a problem with the shoulder. When we are doing long one, The hand is from here to here. The hand now need to go in the same way, okay? No in circle way, because maybe you can have a problem with the shoulder. If you don't have, no problem. But you need to think that maybe you can have a problem with the time in the shoulder, okay? So I do the techniques in this way, and then I do this way. Pow, okay? And then I go back to neutral bow. Pow, okay? This is the mechanic. Mechanic, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is the mechanic, okay? Check. Another time, go. I like to do it in this way, okay? Because I working all the time in this way, okay? 1, and then more force, 1, 2, and then another time forward bow. Bam! Okay? Yes? This is my time. Thinking about the relation with the technique. I like to think in this technique. Directo izquierdo. 1, 2, 3. It's similar. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's the same technique. One step back, the other one step forward. One step back, I hit low, I step forward, I hit up. Think about the family of the technique. This is the thing to play, okay? So I think it's okay for me, 5 minutes, okay? So then, go back. Thank you so much, and we continue to the party. Me in the beach, and you, we continue in the gym, okay? So see you the next time. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Guy's looking at a beach right now. At least I'm not looking at snow like the last 2 months. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. Excellent as always. Gotta say it. Long form 1 reference in there. You know the forms are always coming. All right, rolling right along. We're going to take it from Lorenzo down to my good friend in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, Mr. Mark Lawler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to be with you here in Kennett Square. Myself, my wife, Gail. Gail, if you'd like to get into the frame here. Right, so the technique, parting wings today. I have an interesting story about this technique for you guys. Back in, I don't know, 1980, we were doing a technique called flashing daggers, which is the Tracy equivalent to parting wings. And we were with Mr. Parker up in Philadelphia at Tom Up the Grove School on 2nd and Chestnut. And this is my first exposure to the compounding principle, okay, which everybody now knows what compounding is, getting more striking or defensive value out of the sequence without adding anything. And I'm just going to go through the basic compounds here. And then what I'm going to do is take parting wings to the ground. Be a little interesting wrinkle on how you look at doing your techniques, because these striking sequences can work from that place. All right, so just to walk through the compounds we have here, I'm going to have Gail demonstrate on me. All right, so first off, if you scoot up a little, Gail. She drops back and splits my arms apart. We all know that. Now, the first obvious compound, she's going to take the eye, and she comes in and hits me with the, you can do a chop or a straight palm heel thrust, whatever your liking is. Now here she's going to grab hold of some muscle here, and she's going to rip back, chop, okay? So you're taking in you got this action going on with that, the retraction of that palm heel or chop. Now, some of you may remember this saying, nip that's hit, Mr. Parker used to say. As she comes in with that last middle knuckle, she's going to do the slide check down. And if possible, she's going to catch the crotch. You know, it's not much of a strike, but if you can, not much of a strike. If you catch it, it'll get your attention a little bit. Okay? So I only have 5 minutes, so I just want to go through this kind of quick. I'm going to angle the camera down. I'm going to have Gail lay right here with your head that way. Please, Gail, turn this way. Head up toward that. Okay. We didn't rehearse, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so in this position, okay, if I want to control somebody, I'm going to have my weight on them, right, people? Let's do it a little bit this way. Okay, So one common thing to do is she would push up on my chest to try to get me out of here, somebody that's not trained. So normally we would swing through the arms this way, throw the foot hooks in and control. If you want to strike from that position with the weight on, typically you're going to do stuff like this. Okay, it's hard to punch from there. Now when you strike, you want to have your weight off of her, because if I got my weight on her and I go trying to hit her and she bumps, she's going to take me out of there. So I want my weight either up on one leg or perhaps just here. Now, if she pushes up for me from here, I can split the hands. Now, I'm taller than her, so this would be hard to go to the ribs, but here's my parting wing sequence. This could go to the eye. Boom. We could even go into the extension, take the other eye, chop, hammer, if we wanted to use the strikes in that application. So, I mean, from here, people typically punch, which is great. Other things like that. But your Kenpo, open hand shots to the neck, to the eye. Of course, you're not allowed to hit the eye according to rules. Very good here. But if we're talking about taking somebody out of the picture, you know, using our techniques, any target is available to you. So it's interesting to take your Kenpo techniques, work them from that position. Just remember, if you got your weight on somebody, you go throwing your hands at them, they can bump you or roll you out of there. Okay, so that's pretty much all I got for parting wings today. I'm going to throw it back to you, Dan. And signing off from Kennett Square.
So I don't know if you guys know this or not, and you wouldn't believe it by watching her bang out those techniques, but Gail Lawler, I think the nicest person I've ever met. And then you see her with the gi on, you're like, I don't think that's the same person. And Mark Lawler, all those surgeries you've had, it's great to see you down on the ground like that, my friend. Much respect to you guys. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, moving right along. Gonna take it over to the scribe. This guy's writing, writing. You can tell how to write books. Guy's written, I think the number is 47 million books. Is that correct, Mr. Michael Miller?
Dan, my name's Michael Miller, not Tom Bleeker. Tom Bleeker's written that many. All right, anyway.
Give it time.
All right, parting wings, my friends. All right, so ideal phase, they're coming in with the push. What's important here is that you want to keep your hands in close. Obviously, you're going in between arms and you're coming out. These are basically like extended outward blocks, but it's with your hand swords. So it's basically strike blocks. Coming out, doing our chop. The way I like to do this is more like I guess you'd call it a thrusting inward chop versus the way we do it in the form where you come this way, you know. But we save that for the form. But I'm not a fan of doing it that way in the technique, because if you look at the physics behind it, they're coming straight forward. They're probably not going to stop their momentum. So when I spread their arms, they're still coming in if they're being serious. I mean, if they're like really coming at you. So if I do this against somebody coming this way, it's not going to do much. And then they could actually grab me, bear hug me, take me down if they're a wrestler or whatever that is. So I prefer to go straight in. And I teach it with the hand sword, but I like to turn it into more of a palm, kind of like what we do in thrusting wedge, which kind of relates to this technique. You know, thrusting wedge, we have the hands stay in and the elbows go out. And in this technique, the elbows stay in and the hands go out. So, and then thrusting wedge, they're related, but the technique I was thinking of is begging hands, where we come up like this. We use our palms into the ribs at the end of the technique. That's what I prefer. But again, it is related to thrusting wedge. So I go here. That way I'm using the depth zone. They're coming in the depth zone. I need to cancel that depth zone. So I need to stop them this way. If I do this, they can keep coming. It's like if somebody's charging in on you and you throw a roundhouse kick, you might hit them, but they're still going to get you. But if you throw a good hard front kick or a good hard side kick or something, you can stop them right in their tracks. All right. So here, chop to the throat. We're going to track down with a sliding check. And then it's written as a middle knuckle, which I keep in the form, but I do this as a vertical fist. Boom. Okay, and that's the ideal phase-based technique. I'm not going to do the extension. I don't have time because I have a few things I want to highlight. All right, I think you all know that stuff. So moving on. We both Lorenzo and Mark Lawler both talked about that eye insert. You can do that. If you do that, it's actually cool because you're following a principle that we have in Kenpo, which is anytime you cross the center line, you take something with you. So I can go like this since I'm crossing that center line to do the chop, to do the hand sword. You can do that. But what I found works well for me is turning that into, basically you can call it. I call it a post. I don't call it a palm strike in this case. I call it a post, which is what I learned from, I trained under Joe Lewis, the late, great Joe Lewis. I learned it from him, where it looks like a palm strike, but it's like you're just, it's like a stiff arm in football. So if I've got a football and this guy's trying to tackle me and I just put my arm out, you'll notice a lot of the times the guy falls on his rear end because he's charging it at you and you stiff arm him and you can keep going. So what I like to do is when I go here, I like to throw that stiff arm up there. So I'm not really palm striking him. I'm just kind of keeping him at bay to fire the rest of the technique. So I like doing that. Just kind of add that boom, boom. And then that's already taking care of the depth. It's putting something in their face. They're not going to see this shot and all that fun stuff. Okay. So I like to add that little bad Larry in there. The other thing I wanted to bring out is the way I look at this technique, just to give you an idea, is it can be a what if to 5 swords. If you look at 5 swords, we step in, and by the way, we violate a rule, a very important principle, fatal error right here, because we're crossing our own center line with our lead hand. You shouldn't do that because a Wing Chun guy would have a field day with you. All they got to do is block this and hit you. So this isn't too bright, but as long as you understand that and you know what you can do with that, that's fine. But let's just say I do my first move in 5 swords, and then they fire a left roundhouse punch. And that first move that I would be chopping their neck with, I block this way. Now we're in the parting wings situation. I can either do the left side, right? Or I can just switch my feet and do the other side, okay? So that's another thing I wanted to throw out there. And lastly, I have more stuff, but 5 minutes goes by quickly. Lastly, think about all the right, left, rights we use. This is one of those, right? So I go right, left, right. You got 5 swords, right, left, right. And then, of course, you go left, right. But same idea. You got reversing mix, right, left, right. Okay. You've got combing the storm, right, left, right. Okay. Thundering hammers, right, left, right. All over the place. So it kind of follows the boxing principles. I have, obviously, I was a former boxer, so me being orthodox, you look at your jab, cross hook, left, right, left. Well, if you switch it, it'd be right, left, right. It's all the same principle. Anyway, I think I went probably a little bit over, but anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Salute. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Michael, you're not a former boxer. You're a retired boxer. Good stuff, my man. Thank you very much. All right. Moving right along. We're going to send it down to, actually, I think he's in Fort Lauderdale. You never know. Monty sends pictures like, hey, everybody, I'm in Cleveland. So I think he's in Fort Lauderdale. Either way, it's still the same old Monty, and everybody loves him. Monty Noir.
Thank you. I am in Fort Lauderdale. It's my new apartment. I just moved in. I'm just putting my pictures on the wall. So before we start, we always, since the pandemic, I always say thank you to all the frontline workers, all these police officers, and the nurses and the doctors, all these people that is making us stay healthy. With this technique, Every single segment of this technique is very important in parting wings because it's an actual fluid situation. There is a backup mass coming at you. You could take that as a large force because there is a movement coming at you. There's a blocking. You have to use kind of like a little bit of embracing angle as you step back because you don't know how the body coming at you. So there's a lot into it, okay? Which is nice. The more they give you, the more you have, you know? So as the guy coming in, the way I do it is I react to the situation to protect my face and to protect my body. But as I'm doing that, okay, I would like to use every block is a strike. I would like to use a little bit of pain to them so it will numb their hands, okay? Now, knowing that there is a lot of nerves in their weapons that they're attacking me with, so I'm gonna strike the weapon, the nerve area of their weapons. All this is a very sensitive area that if you hit with these knuckles, okay, it's gonna numb their hands and it's gonna open their hands and it's gonna give you that little bit of quarter of a second or something like that for you to react, okay? So, but the most important part, okay, is your step back. And now as you step back, make sure that you're in neutral stance, but in the same time, you go immediately into an embracing angle because you don't know how much force the guy is coming at you. He's coming to push you, okay? And if his body coming, you need to stop him. So as he steps back, this is a strike, and I move it this way because the body reacts. The body reacts is like, hey, what's going on? See, as you're moving in to protect your face, there's your strikes. And believe me, if you hit yourself with these two knuckles right in here, okay, you will notice, you will know what I'm talking about. And I use that in my seminars. I use this technique a lot in my seminars. So I've studied this techniques very, very much, okay? So as you're stepping back, you cancel their weapons, you destroy their weapons. And in spotting, I do the same thing. When I hit their weapons. I hit an area that is gonna numb their weapons for me to continue with the movement, okay? So in this situation, I'm gonna do the same exact thing. So as I step back, I'm gonna numb their weapons, cancel their weapons. And as I step back, I immediately step in with the block, okay? And when I go with the block later on in time, when you get proficient at the technique, then you start taking segments of the technique and you start working that part of the body that you're using, okay? So if you start using on the sand, if you have sand, if you start using on the grass, I use it on everything, okay? So you hit to the point, you don't just hit, you want to hit and grab. You want these fingers to go in the flesh and you want this palm to go inside the spleen, inside that whole entire, this much deep into his body. So everything in his body will react, okay? So as you step back and you immediately go into that forward stance and an embracing angle, okay? That's what, then you want to go in to stop him from coming forward. Now, as this happening, this palm, if you see the palm the way in here, it fits perfect right here, okay? And if you ever done a seminar with me, you would have felt it because I strike with the palm right in the jaw, and that would kind of like send some stars in their brain. So as you step back, immediately go into the bracing angle, and you hit, and then you grab, and you pull, and then there is the strike. And the strike goes up because you want to, if it ricochets here, you want to glide it up to the throat, okay? From there, immediately, you check the body down and you drop him down because you want him to go up and land, okay? And you hit, pull, drop down, okay? And you notice how what I did when I dropped down, I lowered my body. I want to use my gravitational marriage. I want to use everything, every force possible to land on his heart and push it down. I want his whole intestines to be pushed, everything in his body to be pushed down. No sooner than that happens, I want to rake I want to put this hook right into his eye. And as I do the same movement, I need to hook with my leg, my foot into the groin area and chop into the throat, in the same time. Now I am ready to kick and land. No sooner than land and stable him, stable his body, kick and land, okay? So, that's a lot of stuff. So we step back. There is the maneuver. There is the bone, the jaw. There is the spleen. There is the pull. There is the punch. And there is the hook. No, sorry, as the hook. Now from there, you kick, land, hammer, kick to the knee, raise his body up, and land. All right? One more time this fast. Say 1, 2, 3, 4. And with that in mind, thank you so much. The Brotherhood is an amazing organization. We would love for everyone to join. And salute. Back to you, Dan.
So hold on. I'm not going to take you away yet here. I want to ask you a question, or at least I want to share with you what's going through my mind. First of all, banging out that technique was spectacular at the end, my man. That looked great. But I was kind of chuckling to myself because is that an earpiece you have in there? Is that an earpiece?
Yeah, I'm talking to my Bluetooth. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because to me, I pictured that you have your brother Munis in your ear, and he's saying to you, "That's good. Mention the spleen. Mention the spleen. Good. Now try the." So I kind of missed a little bit of what you were saying. I was chuckling to myself. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so very much. Excellent as always. All right. So
65 is young, you guys. 65 is young.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but since you mentioned it, come on, the guy's 65 years old, banging a technique out like that. That's what I wanted to say, but I wanted your permission. All right. I'll tell you what. It's kind of tough to follow high energy like Monty's high energy, but if you're going to follow high energy, I mean, you guys know one of the most high energy groups we have here in the Brotherhood hails from Dartmouth, Mr. Dan Donfro and crew.
All right, thanks, Dan. So yes, I'll start by saying that so far up until now, everyone has gotten it wrong. It's actually pronounced potting wings. So potting wings. All right, but anyway, yeah, good stuff with parting wings. So we'll just demonstrate the way that I learned it, the way that we do it, and so parting wings. Now again, when I originally first learned it, we ended it with the punch, and then I don't know, somewhere along the line, we ended up putting in the very beginning of the extension. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're 5 and 6 off. So again, parting wings, we got it go. Bam, parting wings. So now, right, and I'll give me the push. Let me go over here. I'll do parting wings. So let me make sure we're on. So parting wings here, bam, and exactly like everybody was doing. So I'm not going to get into all the little particulars there. All right, what I want to do is we're going to look at a relationship in motion, and then also, I love parting wings. At first when it came up as the technique of the month, I thought, why would I fix something that ain't broken? All right. But again, I love parting wings, but against the 2-hand push, works great. But can you do it against something other than a 2-hand push? So, but before we get into that, we're going to look at parting wings and a technique called circles of protection. So if we take the first move, ready? We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back it up. So again, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. So you can already see that there's a little something going on there. But now let's alter the weapon slightly. So let me come on to this side. So let's go again. 1, 2, and now look, let's just put this here. All right. 2. All right, let's start that again. Back it up. Go 1, 2, And now look, see this? How about 3? All right, if we take this and we put it here, now look. All right, how about 4? We take this back knuckle and open it up. Huh? What do you think? What are you thinking? All right, and then 5. And then you can't see it, but if we take that and put that middle knuckle out, look at this. Looks pretty similar to me. So let's go back it up. So now with the altered weapons, we're going to do circles of protection and parting wings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, we'll have Miss Laura demonstrate circles of protection. No, parting wings. You're going to do parting wings. So parting wings. Bam. Yeah, let's look from the other side. Parting wings. Bam! And then Brighton will do circles of protection. And again, from over here, circles of protection. Yeah. All right, so now, looking at parting wings. So again, I'll do parting wings one more time. Let me come on this side. So the push comes in here. Pop, pop, bam! All right, so now, what happens if it's a punch that's coming in? Let's go from this side. So everybody's familiar with, that whole grouping with flashing wings and thundering hammer. So if I came in and slipped outside the punch, bam, and then look at this, right? Wah, wah, pow! And then, whoops, sorry about that. All right. So yeah, you got like a flashing wings. I'll do a little slower. So he's got 1, 2, and then as I come back, look, here I am. And then into the kidney, to the ribs. I could go back to the ribs and then follow up to the back of the head. All right. So, let's go from this end. So flashing wings starting. Bam! And then I could come up and finish it with that move that we all know about. So let's bring it back. So there's, a couple little things to think about on parting wings. And I'll be signing off here. Yeah, parting wings. Darwin, back to you, Dan.
Now, wait a minute. You called it potting wings at the beginning and you called it parting wings at the end. Either way, you guys did a great job. You guys head over to the Packy and have a blast, right? That's a phrase you know if you're friends with Cheryl. All right. Thank you very much, Dan Donfro and Laura and Brightman. Awesome as always. High five for me, too. All right, moving right along. We're taking it over to my man, my partner in crime, Mr. Brian Saul.
Your partner in crime. Wow, doing potting wings. I can't keep up with that. So I think today's pretty fitting that we're together. I'm going to take these off for a moment. And I just wanted to get serious for one moment before I get started, only because, we're all together. It is April 10th, which means tomorrow is the 3-year anniversary of Mr. Trejo's death. So, he's been on my mind a little bit. Obviously, he was pretty important for me, obviously an instructor, a friend, family member, and we miss him quite a lot every day. So I just wanted to mention that for those of you who knew him and didn't know him, keeping the flame alive. That being said, all right, parting wings. Man, Monty had me laughing. I was totally picturing what movie, the second Indiana Jones movie. He's talking about take the spleen out. I was totally picturing. Is that the second movie? The second Indiana Jones movie? The heart removal? That was awesome. So, parting wings. All right. Let's talk about this. So we have a lot of push techniques in the system. Very first one we encounter on the original 10 is what? Alternating maces, right? We got alternating maces. Alternating maces, you're working from the boom, from the outside. Then we got parting wings, right? We have parting wings. Now your hands are down. The push is coming in. You're working from underneath, right? Boom. What else do we have in the push department? we have parting wings. You get caught up and you get tied up. And what do we have here, right? You got twist of fate. You got that variation. And then you have the fail, right? You get pushed. You don't get to pull any of that off. You fall. You have encounter with danger, right? You got encounter with danger. And there's one more in the sequence. Everyone's favorite technique, right? It's the push followed by the overhand right. And what do we have for that when you get pushed? And everyone's favorite technique, right? So you have the entire sequence of push from the outside, from underneath, the completed push, the push with the punch. So you have the entire series there. So I just wanted to put it in that context for you. So when we do parting wings, we're going to drop back, just like everyone said. You're going to descend into your neutral bow. This is important. This is important because if you break this technique down to the most fundamental basic levels, you're getting the hands out of the way and you're hitting the guy. Nothing wrong with that. Just hand them, boom, bow, bow. It could just be this, just plain old 1, 2, 3. But it's important to understand that when you do this first move, their momentum is still coming in at you. All right, so you can't take a break here. Their arms are going past you. You need something to close off that depth, which is why you do, Mr. Miller talked about this. This needs to be a straight line move. You're controlling this depth here, all right? So as quickly as you take care of these hands, this needs to round that corner, go straight in, all right? Now, I like to say there's the nice way and the mean way of doing this technique. The nice way is obviously right? And then you can mean it up by doing the eye slice and that, and as Monty talked about, you can grab and rip on the way out. There's all sorts of nasty inserts that you can put in there. But at the meat of it, at the heart of it, boom, you need this to come right out. This needs to, it needs to follow, because as quickly as you're catching the depth there, checking the depth with this shot, that brings the next shot forward. So this needs to follow up. You can't have gaps between these moves before you drop this down and do your middle knuckle strike. I don't know how many minutes I went, but just real quick, the other thing I was going to mention was Sabor did the technique darting mace, right, on the Brotherhood channel. As soon as I saw that on parting wings, Mike mentioned some of these too. You got parting wings here. I mean, there are parting wings is all over the system. So there's a ton of information. Look for that sequence wherever you go. I'm probably over, so I'm going to stop there. Great to see everyone. If you're not part of us, come join us, man. $50 a year, $5 a month. It's a blast here. All right. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Mr. Mack.
Hey, you got me thinking. This one. Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Hey, this is Trejo.
I miss the dude, man.
That's what he. Hey, this is Trejo. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta stop. I'll get emotional. Anyway, last thing Brian mentioned. If you guys like what you're seeing here, and you're interested in a little more information, you can just go to brotherhoodkenpo.com. Brotherhoodkenpo.com, where you can go. You want to become a member. If you become a member, you get your sweet membership packet with your ID card laminated, right? You get your patch. You get access to the members only page on Facebook, where we have, I have to, at the end, Rich Snyder, tell us how many, or put it in the chat if you can. I don't know how many videos are up there. There's a lot, over 300. I'll say that. And they're constantly growing. This week, Sabor did one on darting mace. Last week, Brian and I did one on sticky hands. All right, so we're always putting new stuff up there, and there's stuff up there from years ago. John George just posted a comment from a video from like 2017. I watched it. I'm the one who shot the video. Don't remember it all. It's like I saw it for the first time myself. It was great. He was like, good stuff. I was like, I have no idea what I said. But anyway, if you're interested.
And I think we are approaching 500 videos in the library.
500 videos.
I think when I counted, it was like 475 a couple months ago or a month or two ago. So it's significant.
And are you telling me that for only $50 a year, Bri?
Hey, Dan, you can get all of that for just $5 a month. Yeah, $5 a month.
for just the cost of, I don't know what costs $5 a month anymore. But anyway, so if you're interested, brotherhoodkenpo.com. It's pretty cool. We have an awesome group. Shout out. I saw Judy jumped in. If that's the Judy who just joined like a month ago, you've been a lot of fun to follow on Facebook. Thank you for your membership. Last week I said this, and then literally by the end of the show, she was a member, and I had her on the members only page. It was cool. Could happen for you too, but either way, doesn't change the fact that you're a lot of fun to follow on Facebook as well, Judy. Also, we have our merch. All right, we have our T-shirts and we have our hoodies on there. You can just go again, brotherhoodkenpo.com. Click on it. If it seems a little expensive, that's because we included shipping right away. All right, so you just pay the fee, whatever it is, I don't remember, and then that includes the shipping. We'll take care of it. I'll send it out. I just shipped out a couple maybe a week and a half ago, so I'll send another order out. I send orders out about every 2 weeks, so you guys know that. All right, that's enough of that stuff. Judy, we love you back. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, now, moving right along, back to the Kenpo. Back to the Kenpo. We're going to send it out to the undisclosed location for the first time. We purposely split these guys up, right? But for the first time going out to the undisclosed location,
change it
let's see if
to
they're going to get hit with sprinklers.
internal drive. Internal. Hey guys, what's going on? Can you hear me?
It's Angelo!
All right, guys, what's happening, Brotherhood? How are you? Here's my my man. Happy birthday to AJ. It's his birthday weekend, so we're all good. All right, so this technique is a cool technique, and you guys know me. I like to look at the applications and responses of the human body. So the first thing I want to talk about this technique is the actual the physics of the push. Okay, so in a normal, if we're going to get in a confrontation in slow motion, if AJ's going to push me, he's going to come at me unbeknownst to me, and he's going to push. But notice where his hands are. His arms are in a flex position so that he can initiate and push. Okay. Now, when we practice Kenpo, we practice in the ideal phase, and we come at each other with our arms extended. So as he comes at us, no one's going to push me. Push me and hit me with your arms straight. There's no push. And very few people will actually make contact with their arms fully extended. They're going to get in your face and push you back. Okay. So this particular thing, I'm watching a T-ball game right over AJ's shoulder. And a T-ball, you've got the ball standing on top of the thing. So he can take your time and you can swing, you can cross, he takes the ball and he hits the ball, the T-ball, but it's not moving. Okay. So this would be a T-ball kind of a thing where you're practicing your target or batting practice or so forth. So you step back and you come out and you shoot everything you want to do. However, if you get into a live pitch, the ball's going to come at you, and this would be the ball. So you have to, as you step back, you want to try to anticipate that move. And we all know that if you don't know something's coming, it's really hard to defend against. So if I'm standing there and I'm looking this way, there's no way I can defend against that. But if I see it coming and I can anticipate, I'd ride that ball in and I'd block outward right in the right position. So that's one thing I want to point out. So when you're working this technique, try it with somebody actually being close to you. Another thing is we all know this trick. When you put your arms, you have no strength when your arms are here. Okay. You see that. Now, if you bend your elbows a little bit, and he's got some burly arms like Don Pro, man.
They're huge.
They're huge. And it's going to be a muscle fight. So if he pushes me close, I may not be able to spread his arms this way at all because of the position. So this has to be executed with the arm straight to decrease the leverage, increase the leverage so that we can actually make that space. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is when you go back from the side, if you go back and make your arms even, he can slap me in the face very easily and take me down. So let's do that scenario. Okay. Ready, go. Here, he's got me. So the important factor here is that when he comes in, you want to step back and you want to keep your arms parallel. So from the side, you're going to have one arm a little bit longer than the other. He comes in, I want to keep that one arm just a little bit out more just so that I'm even. Okay. So that's another part of this technique I want to bring to your attention. The third part of this technique is there's inserts that people like to do based on eye shots and so forth. So if he comes in, there's an insert that's an eye shot, and then he does eye shot, and as I do, don't move here, and I do this, and I shoot this downward. Now, in reality, if you hit somebody in the eye, this is what's going to happen. They're going to come here. I'm going to do a block. As I do this, both arms are going to go up. So if I do this chop, I may break my hand on his elbow, and if I do this, he's protected. Okay? So an eye shot will initiate this. However, if you want to do an insert and you do a heel palm, his arms will drop because that's the anatomical response of a shot. You see a boxer, they get hit, their arms drop as they fall. You poke a boxer in the eye, their gloves come up and they go, my eye, my eye. Okay. So when you want to do that insert, change it to this. From here, I can still get this action here and then follow up with whatever we want to do. The other point I want to point about this technique is ideal phase. We step back, neutral, forward bow, targeting below. I like to go not to the ribs because the ribs are made for impact. Below the ribs, floating ribs even a little bit lower, diagonal force downward, which is going to cause his chin to pop up, shooting upward this way, and then at 45-degree angle. You can use middle knuckle, you can use whatever. I like to use a vertical punch, just preference, coming down because I like the ending of all the other techniques you can put on there, or you can go on to the extension, either way. And the final point I want to make about this technique is if someone were to actually push you hard, you need to back up so we're in frame. AJ, so if he's going to go ahead and push me hard, I can step back and load up from here, okay? Because once he pushes, his hands are going to go into the secondary fighting position. So he pushes me, boom, hit, pow, there's my shot here, and then I can go on to whatever I want. So what you do is you practice the push, and then you land, and as soon as you land, you fire either a vertical punch, you can do the rib shot, anything you want to do, but you use that momentum up, down, pow, pow, boom, boom, and then shoot up, whatever. Or you can go into your extension, which I love this extension. It's probably one of my favorites because it's like a whirling dervish. It keeps moving and moving and moving. So just based on that technique, again, watching out for all these different possibilities that could happen based on response, because in this technique, while we're doing it, the actual a dummy really doesn't do anything. He stands there. However, if I were really to hit him, he's going to react here. He's going to react here. He's going to react here. And we have to take under consider those reactions in order to make that sequence. So after we practice in the ideal phase, we work into the what if phase, and then you actually do the technique and put the strikes in and see what kind of reaction you get. And then you got to modify from there also. So that's pretty much it for me. A couple of pointers I wanted to make for this technique, and I will see you guys on the flip flop where I become the dummy and this guy's going to kill me. So thank you guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And here we go. And Larry, thanks again for filling in. We appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thank you very much for trip 1 of 2 that we will be making to the undisclosed location. All right. Moving right along, we're going to take it up to London, Ontario, Canada. It's funny. I've traveled all over the world, but London, Ontario is still one of my all-time favorite places. I feel like I'm home when I'm there, and that's probably because the people are awesome. Starting with this man, the King of Canada, Mr. Steve Stewart.
Hey, this is the guy. Every day I come in my studio, 6 a.m. to train every day. I always say, good morning, Mr. Frank. Because he'd always, like you said, Dan, pick up for those Urino Trail. You doing, homeboy? And I miss that guy every day, especially right now. So anyway, I just want to let you know this was done by one of my students. Jacob's mom actually did this painting. Angela's been here, so he saw this hanging up there. So that's where it is, right with all his entourage. He was a fighter. So anyway, bring in Mr. Jacob. And Dan Donfro, up in Canada, we pronounce it parting wings, eh? So anyway, everybody's got some great stuff up there. So what I want to talk about here, first of all, if my hands are up here and he does a push at me, I might say, stop. I must put my hands down to do parting wings. However, if my hands are this way, I don't want any trouble. If he pushes at me, I'm going to come down and then come this way. We employ hooking wings. Yeah? If my hands are down, though, and I drop back. When I drop back, like you say, he's got the forward momentum coming. So when I drop back, when my heel, come this way, when my back heel land, I stonewall him because that's going to surge energy up into this and expand it this way if I use two-way action. If I use two-way action, that's what happens at the same time. So I'm hitting him on the radial, just underlying the radial bone and the nerve that supports that into insertion points that are along that gateway that help cause flow. So from the science point of view, when I drop back, My hands come this way. I'm going to use the two-way action from this angle. Drop my heel this way here. Now, look at the umbilicus, the belly button. About 4 inches lateral to that is another insertion point. This one here, the energy is moving this way on this one. I got a PhD in integrative naturopathic medicine, so I got a pretty good idea how this all works. 10 years in pathology, autopsy was a dead end job. Anyway, if I hit this one in and down, he can resist, hit it in and down. But if I tap it just slightly, in and up, that's what happens. That's the way the energy, so I'm backing the energy up. So if he comes this way here again, hitting this way, I want to take this heel palm and again, I want to insert that two-way action just to drive that. Then I have a gateway, a couple of points I like to strike up here, a couple of insertion points up here, just about 2 inches down from the neck, lateral border. This one's here to support the blood pressure in the heart. So if I just tap that over there, that's what's going to happen. You just got to know where to hit it. You don't have to be right on it because the point's about the size of a loonie or a toonie or a 50-cent USA piece. So again, this way here, this way here. Now, you can do the extension. That's all great. A couple of things I like to add in here, alternatives. When I go from here, I got borrowed force. Here, when I retract that, when I shift that, I hit. I can either hit it at the xiphoid process at the base of the sternum. It's called the celiac plexus. It'll get the diaphragm to start spasm. Or I can hit just slightly below that, which will cause tremendous amount of pain, and it drops the energy to the ground. So, a couple of things on doing this. Like Angela was saying, I try to push his arms out, he's coming at me. You can't. You can't do that. But if I cross, I can push him. The reason I can do that because when you cross center line, the corpus callosum, this works this side, this works this side. As soon as you cross the arms, the brain has no idea where these went to. For the moment, you just trick the brain. Then you can push him back. If I try to push him this way, if I try to push him this way, I can't. But as soon as I cross, it's much easier to do. Another thing I want to talk about this one on here without doing the extension. Again, as he pushes, when I drop back, I drop that heel, same time I hit, boom. Now from this position here, I can hit to the throat, grab the finger, take it to the ground. So when I insert it, turn the insertion, come over this way. Right at the base, I use my middle one like a scaler, not straight in. You go in with a little curvature like to clean your teeth like hygienists do. You just push that in and down. I learned that from Professor Wally J many years ago. His son Leon's a dear friend of mine. So I like to incorporate a lot of those principles into that. So again, and on the arm, like I said, the radial bone. If I hit it upwards, nothing. But if I hit it downward, you get a response because the energy is moving that way. So when I hit it backwards, I'm just backing it up. And then it pulls in here and it makes it much easier to drop into the ground. So I think my time's up, but I just really want to cap on a couple of those principles about, areas of striking, especially a bigger person against somebody not as tall, because they can take a lot of abuse. But if you know where to drive it, then it makes it a lot easier. Anyway, I'm Steve Stewart, King of Canada, and I approve this message.
So how do we know that Canadians are nice? Look at what they call their money. In America, what do we have? We have cheddar. We have C-note. In Canada, you have loony and toonie. It's just nice. Anyway, thank you very much, Steve Stewart, and thank you very much, Jacob. All right, before we move on to our next presenter, stunningly handsome fella that he is, I just want to tell you guys that in 2 weeks, Kenpo International, our pals over at Kenpo International, are doing the Exeter Virtual Training Camp. So John Ward just sent me this photo, and as soon as I saw Exeter, I felt a little warmth in my heart. I've been to Exeter before. It's a great, great town. It's a great town, great Kenpo people. Probably the toughest Kenpo people I've ever met are in Exeter. They just beat each other up. They just beat each other up. It's awesome. But anyway, let's look at our instructors. John Ward, Norman Sandler, Doreen D'Arienzo, Cita Van, Steve Harms, Lorenzo Jimenez. That's a great lineup. And guess what? They've all been on the Roundtable. But wait a minute, there's two more. Ben Harms and Steve Harms. Those guys. We got to get you on the Roundtable. Ben Harms and Steve Harms, two awesome, awesome guys. Great Kenpoists, but also awesome guys. So that's April 17th and 18th. If you want a little more information, you can just go to kempointernational.org. All right, moving right along, it's my turn. So I had somebody to help me out. Oh, yeah, sorry, I got a door in the background. I was supposed to put a door up, and it's been sitting there for a couple months. So I was supposed to have somebody to help me out, but then a teenager pulled into my driveway, and my kid's gone. So I'm going to do this on my own. Parting wings. Couple thoughts on parting wings. Number one, the very first move. Now, when I first learned it, I learned it as a cross, and then you went out and we were told to keep our hands together or like this, like keep them even, okay? Keep them even. And it was like they're adamant. Do not separate them, do not stagger them, keep them even. Now, this was in the mid-'80s, and that's when like doing the mime was like cool. So I was into it, you know, bam, I could do that. You know, but over the years I've come to discover that if you have one a little back and one a little further, it's better. Structurally, you're a little more sound, okay? If the guy tries to collapse on you, you're protected better. And that way you don't have to do this. You see people a lot of times they'll go one and they'll round the corner and two. You might not have time for that. So if you have it staggered a little bit, it just gives you a little space to turn and pivot into that and shoot that. And when you're in tight like that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to focus really on your torque, the twist of your wrist, and the tension. All right. I sure would like to be able to punch somebody in the face and start back here and wind up and boom, fire. But I can't. Sometimes I have this much space. So how do we generate power? Well, you know, the legs and the hips and the shoulders, right? When we shoot this shot out there, but if you're in tight and you want to generate some power, what you want to do is you want to become as rigid a structure as you can, okay? And one of the ways to become a rigid structure is through tension. So once you hit, you want to tense. Okay, but now if you add that torque in there as well, I mean, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but what I'm saying is this is time when you really need to focus on those two things. Don't just give them a slap, right? No good. Torque, tension, wham, and stick that in there, all right? So that's my first thought on that. Now, when we go to here, I've taken a lot of lessons on how to do parting wings. You know, I've taken over the years. You know, some people say this, some people say this, some people say only this, some people say only this, okay? For the record, I did witness Ed Parker with my own eyes do it this way. But that's not important because I'll be honest with you, the way that I like to do it is the way I picked up from somebody was to actually bring the arms in tight and kind of whack your hands together a little bit. I like this because what this does when we retreat, you know, you say you descend. You don't want to go step, shift, right? We understand forward bow, neutral bow, forward bow, all that stuff. But you don't go step and then shift, right? You descend into position, okay? And if you descend into position, you get that weight on your back leg, which allows you to shift to your front leg. That shift from your back to your front leg is what I was talking about earlier with the legs and hips when you fire that shot. Now, if you bring these together, you whack these like this, what it'll do is it'll help to send you back into that descension before you fire that there. So what you have is you have a little bit of a body mechanic happening. Now, this is if it's compact. This is if I would love to be able to wheel and get all this fancy motion that looks awesome on video. But it's not going to work if the dude's coming in at you super quick, if he stalls, if he trips, if he hesitates, whatever. But if you go to push this dude, or if this dude goes to push you, he's expecting your body to catch him. All right? A lot of times we have what I say 3 points of balance. What do I mean by 3 points of balance? Well, 2 points, 1, 2, and a lot of times we do this. 3, right? I might be standing here talking to you, and I'm leaning on my chair. So anyway, I'm leaning on the chair. 3 points of balance. When this guy goes to push you, he's expecting your body to be that third point of balance. So if you come in here, his arms go out, he's going to come flying towards you. You might not have time for all that. And that's where you got to just pop, boom, and stick it in there right away. So you bring this in. The other benefit to this here is if the dude goes to push, or opponent, you might have a woman pushing you, who knows, but the person goes to push you, they push at your shoulders, they're pushing you. But maybe you get people kind of get that cocky, like, what, you know what I mean? But the point is that could be coming at you. And it's in tight. And if it's in tight, you want to be able to fit in there. Okay? So this helps you to fit in there, boom, before you propel yourself back, and then you go into that there. So anyway, I had a whole bunch of other stuff. Actually, to be honest with you, I didn't plan on saying any of that, but it came in. So maybe I'll do a video on the members only page to share with what I wanted to actually say. All right, so that's it for me. I'm going to flow right over to my man from Maryland, Mr. Samora Jam.
Woohoo! Salute. How are you guys? Got a visitor here. This is Xavier. He's going to help me out today. It's good to see everybody. It's been a whole month since we did this. So, parting wings. Fun technique, very flashy technique, great for demo. Everybody and their grandmother loves it, just like Five Swords and Thundering Hammer and so on. So I'm going to share with you some of my thought with parting wings. Okay, so first of all, parting wings is the number 2, or not number 2, but the second, that's what I meant, the second technique in the Kenpo system that we are dealing with a two-handed push. Okay, the first being alternating maces in the orange belt. So the technique itself, like I said, it's fun to do, but also let's take a look at the lesson in parting wings. Okay, so number 1, let's take a look at why somebody would push you. Okay, they push you because they want to step in, like Angelo was saying, sock you or knock you out with their other hand, or their right hand, or their left hand, doesn't matter. Okay, or they could be pushing and follow up with the kick, or pushing and then shoot into a tackle. Okay, so any number of those things could happen. So one of the things that we need to do is, obviously, this is one method of trying to stop your opponent's forward momentum. Okay, so we have a lot of backup techniques that you could use if your first shot didn't work. Okay, so Xavier's gonna help me out. Let's have you on this side. All right, so as the push comes in, we drop back and we block. Okay, immediately, just like the guys were saying earlier, move back a little bit, Xavier, right there. Okay, so from here, don't go past his hand, for the obvious reason. You're gonna shoot the heel palm or an inward hand sword. I like to use a thrusting hand sword. So from here, I just hit a forward bow and I hopefully stop his forward momentum right there. If it didn't, and he's still coming in from here, that shot would go to the throat, and hopefully that stands him up a little bit. Now, this is a soft target, so I don't have to hit him hard to create damage or to stop his forward momentum. If I just hold my hand right here nice and light and he walks forward, he's not going anywhere. Okay, my instructor used to do this to us. I can stop you with one finger, and he'll put his pinky. He'll put it right here. Okay, walk. Okay. So you can't go anywhere, and he can control you with one pinky. All right, so this is kind of the same thing. After we chop, pow, we shoot right to the throat. Okay, that could create some major damage. The next thing that I like to do is using my heel palm to rake down. Okay, now obviously this is for demonstration. He's got his hand out holding still for me. In a real fight, do you think that's going to happen? Most likely not. Okay, so from this shot, I can do a chop. I can grab and rip if I wanted to. At the same time, this hand right here, I can also grab and rip and chop. Okay, the next thing we want to do is rake down, time provided. This is to soften him up a little bit as he falls into your middle knuckle shot right to the solar plexus, if you are that accurate, okay? If not, you just pound the living daylights out of him with that reverse punch, okay? Now, what I like about parting wings is that it teaches you how to generate power with short movement, okay? So in this case, let's take a look at the block itself, okay? So our hands rotates right here. So instead of just doing this, okay, the technique say, okay, use your rotation of the wrist to generate power. Okay, now from here, once again, because I'm jammed up right here, it teaches you how to maximize your power by using your hip this time and shoulder to rotate that shot in there. Okay, and then we come back, rotate again into your outward hand sword. Again, the hips move and then the hips move. But if you look at this chop right here, okay, the important part right here is to keep your hand this way so that your palm is in. So when you go to do this shot, you have a little bit of rotation to generate power, okay? Rake down, now your vertical middle knuckle punch will go right into the solar plexus. All right, so let's say you have the time. He pushes, I back up now. From here, anything could happen, all right? So I can go 5 short on this side if I wanted to, if he shoots a left hook, okay? Or again, if he was to throw any punches, his arms gotta come back to him, okay? Because he can't shoot a punch with his arm out there. So I'm thinking most likely it could be a kick, okay? Because that would be the most logical thing. If somebody pushes you, now, bam, right into your gut, okay? I hope you guys can see that. It's blocked from here. But, so if he pushes, I drop back, and then he shoots a kick. Now, I can go into another technique, okay? So, this is good, but if you're not ready from right here for whatever reason, maybe you didn't step and sink in or settle into your stance, or you start a step and you're not ready to do this move, you can be here and then be ready for, you know, cheat your step back a little bit to buy some time. All right, so that's parting wings. Also, I want to steal a couple seconds to relate the technique a little bit to another technique that's very interesting, which is leap of death, which is parting wings slightly different. Leap of death, the right punch comes in, we drop back, we hit, we back knuckle, and we take the guy down to the ground and do the rest of the stuff, okay? But if you look at it, how is it parting wings? In parting wings, I step back, both hands parted out. In leap of death, we step back. Now, instead of both hands, one hand is out, one hand is coming in. Okay, last time both hands open, this time one hand closed, one hand open. Okay, and then we go into our back knuckle. So from here, parting wings, we do our part, and then our chop, and then our chop, and our middle knuckle punch. So here it is, the 2 hands. Here's the chop. Last time I did the inward hand sword with the open hand. This time I'm doing a heel palm with an open hand, or not a heel palm. This is part of your 2 hands. So the back knuckle is the opposite. So it's going out with the closed hand, and then you take them down in, take them down to the ground, right? In leap of death. So parting wings, we end up this way with our right hand and facing, what's that, 12 o'clock up front. Leap of death, we finish over here facing 6 o'clock with the left hand extended out. So that's the gross motor skill of parting wings. Also, if I could have, just go on your stomach and hit, yeah, put your hip that way, sorry. All right, so when you do the second part of leap of death after you land on them, right? This is another parting wing. So see, now it's smaller target, which is concentrated on his head and neck. So this is still parting wings right here. Instead of ending up with a punch right here, we trampoline off or bounce off of his body and add the kick instead of a punch. Okay, so that is the opposite of medium range weapon to a long range weapon. Thank you, sir. All right, so anyway, I think I'm way over time, but that's some thought. Hopefully it helps you. Thank you. Salute.
Thank you very much, Sabora. Xavier, nice to see you, my friend. Nice to see you. I got a chuckle, Sabora, when you fired off that knife hand up to his throat and you gave that Sabora chuckle. Anyway, moving right along. Guess where we're going? Back to the undisclosed location. So when we found out, unfortunately, that Alfred wasn't going to be able to do it, we thought immediately, well, what about AJ? Why not give AJ? AJ's been on here before. Why not have him on again? So back over to the undisclosed location for AJ.
How's it going, everybody? First of all, I want to say thank you for thinking about me and including me in this. Great honor to be a part of this. So first thing before we get started, what I wanted to talk about was the actual precursor to the attack, baiting your opponent to come in and make them do what you want them to do. So what's going to happen is we have many different posturing positions. So we're going to talk about that first. So where your hands are going to be is going to dictate where that person is going to attack. If I'm right here, where is that person going to attack most likely? My hands are open. Boom, he's going to come right down the middle. Okay. Now, if my hands are down here, hey, I don't want to fight. He may come to the same spot. Now, if my hands are in nice and tight, where is he going? Only thing available is the shoulders. So where you put your hands is going to dictate the opening for where he's going to push. If my hands are up here, great setup for hooking wings or alternating maces. If my hands are in tight, we get into parting wings. We have thrusting wedge, blinding sacrifice, working from the outside in or the inside out. So hand posturing is important to bait this opponent in. Now, one thing that I've had problems with is this attacker coming in. I'm not a big dude. So when this attacker comes in, and that energy, they're still moving forward, I get jammed up here. I'm a pretty long person, so I don't have I got long arms, okay? So when this person comes in, I'm going to set up my attack. I'm going to make sure that they push to the outside. So I'm going to say, hey, man, I don't want to fight. So I'm giving him one target is the shoulders if he's pushing. So when I'm here, my first move, instead of hitting this part here and letting this person come in, I'm going to bait him to come in. I want him to come in a little close. And now what I'm going to do, instead of this part, all I'm going to do is with my right hand, the same part we would do originally, but with my left hand, I'm going to narrow my body out so this push comes past me. So as this comes in, I'm going to catch with this upward elbow. Okay. So I'm here, boom, I turn, boom. So I'm narrowing my body out from here to here. He's going to go right past me, pop. So as he comes in, boom, we're catching right underneath the chin. Okay. From here, we can finish with the same thing. Back up a little bit. We're in the same position. We have this hand checked. We shoot that in and we can finish. Now I'm a little closer, so that might not have as much force. Remember, we're working close quarters. From here, I have that flapping elbow. That can do the same thing. Okay. So we're here. It comes in. We have 1, 2, 3, and then we punch back down. Okay. So this is more if that attacker, if you don't get that spread where you have that distance, where he closes that gap, boom, whap, we can still finish with what we need to do. Okay. So now there's other options here as well. We may not want to stay on the inside. Okay, maybe it's a big dude. Maybe we want to get to the outside real quick. So as we do that first move, upward elbow, I have a nice shot here. And a lot of our system is based on sticky hands, what we like to work. So this is a great moment. From here, we can keep it the same. I'm going to come over and hook this arm that I'm checking. And I'm going to cancel this right arm as I pull it across. And I'm going to shoot my heel palm to the back kidney instead. Now look, that flapping elbow is still there. Then I can come across, I can land that punch to the bottom. So one more time, it's 1, catch, hit, elbow, and then I can come with elbow, a punch, and finish with my last strike. So I know I'm talking kind of fast. So we have the insert of coming in, boom, keeping it how we normally do it, shortening the weapons a little bit. And then we want to work the outside a little bit, not get out of the inside. Boom, hit, pop, boom. Now he's turned around. Okay. Last but not least is for some grapplers and wrestlers out there, there's also a grappling opportunity using that outside. One, boom, hit. Now, instead of this hand sword, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot this across. I'm going to keep this hip checked. As I step across, back up so you see the feet. As I step across here, I'm going to shoot this across the face as I step behind. Now, notice where he's at. His leg is right here. So all I'm going to do as I'm checking is I'm going to kneel, look at his body. From there, my hand's here. I step back. I have a perfect rear naked choke, and his knee's busted. Okay, so real quick on the grappling. 1, 2, 3, step, kneel, take back. Okay. Excuse me, sorry. So one more time, all three. Posturing is important. Hands in tight, forcing the push to go to the outside. As he comes in, pop. Oh, sorry, one more time. Boom, it comes in. Boom, we narrow ourselves out, shoot it, flapping elbow, punch back down. Now we're going to work the outside. Narrow out, boom, hook the arm, keep the hand sword, boom, and then we finish with the flapping elbow over the top. You can come down on top of the head if you want to, punch or punch down here. And then we have our grappling opportunity. Narrow out, catch the elbow, boom, hit, step across, kneel on the leg, draw back into your rear naked. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys right there. I don't know how I am on time. I know I was talking a little fast, but once again, thank you guys so much for allowing me to be a part of this and headlining today. I know it was a little last minute, but greatly appreciated. So thank you guys so much.
AJ, you are a rock star. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. And hey, look, AJ, not to brag, but I have an eye for talent. And that new Uki you have there, that kid looks like he has potential. So
he said you look like you have potential.
Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. All right. Our final presenter of the day. I panicked for a second. I thought that I skipped Sabora. I was like, no, I didn't skip Sabora. Anyway, our final presenter of the day. Hey, listen, this guy, first time, 3-time presenter on the show. All right. First time, 3-time presenter on the show. And we're so appreciative that he could make it. It was kind of last minute because we had other guys go. But I have to tell you, one positive that's come out of COVID is, for me at least, has been this roundtable. And this roundtable has introduced us, and I am so entertained. This guy is such a fun follow on Facebook, such a fun follow on TikTok, very informative. So I like learning from the guy, and I'm looking forward to learning from him right now. Mr. Larry Kongaika.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Good to see you. Man, everyone took everything. All I have to say is great job and be done with it. But I want to just share with you some of the things that we like to play with in parting wings. This is a staple technique for Kenpo. Everyone loves doing it, just like 5 swords, thundering hammers. One of the main techniques. What we practice is ideal phase, and we work off the ideal phase so that we can get comfortable and confident in being able to make our strikes effective. Now, there's 2 schools of methods of Kenpo that I've seen. One is striking fast and hitting hard. Goes along with that saying Mr. Parker would say, a strike with effect keeps an opponent in check, okay? And so I like striking fast and hitting hard. And I teach my wife to kind of do the same because she's a little bit shorter and smaller. And for her to have to manipulate and grab, and the other school of method for Kenpo is, what is it?
Contact manipulation.
Control, manipulation, control, release, where we actually have to control the person. So I like them both. We practice both, okay? So we like to strike fast and move hard, which is, we kind of got that from Mr. Mills. I was a Mr. Mills black belt. I am a Mr. Mills black belt. And so we get that from the Mr. Mills side. But also, one thing that a lot of people didn't see Mr. Mills do was a lot of the control, release, control manipulation stuff. And so the control manipulation stuff, of course, isn't going to be as fast as the striking stuff. Yeah, you can strike hard in it, and there's a lot of power in it. I was just talking to my students, and I was telling them, like, you ever see that machine gun? It's like a machine gun, and it has like on the bottom of it, it has like a grenade launcher. Well, that's kind of how I picture Kenpo. You want to have that machine gun with the grenade launcher so that it just, boom, you have to have that explosion in your Kenpo, okay? So let's go to party wings real fast. The guy comes in. One of the things that we talk about is our line of entry, and also our angle of attack. So as he pushes, I like to shoot my hands forward. I'm going up on that 45, and I'm going to come down on that 45. So I'm constantly on the attack line. So my attack line is going to come out this way, and I know that the ideal phase is chop, 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 punch. That's the ideal phase. Neutral bow, forward bow, neutral bow, forward bow. Okay? So we get all that from, short form 1, neutral bow, forward bows, but as a purple belt, this is purple belt technique, neutral, forward, neutral, and then there's your forward. So we're learning to launch off those hips. So once you step back, this is isolating. We're isolating the technique from this neutral, and then I'm going to launch that hip. Launch it. Right into that forward. I'm going to launch it. Look at where my hands are going. My left hand, again, crossing my center line, just like Mr. Miller was talking about. I don't like the eye slice. I think that's too particular to try to get an eye slice and then hit. I would hit right, little pop in the ear. Boom, boom. And all I'm doing is I'm catching the floaters. Either floaters, but look at my launch. My launch is, that's the launch, okay? Let's say he comes in too fast. Wow, I'm right back on top. I'm not gonna take the low line. I'm gonna take the top, take it high. Boom. So we like to play around with both the speed of it, step back, and here's my speed. Pop, and I'm right back. So I'm whipping right back into that 3 motion, so I can load up for that, pop, and then load up for that last punch. Or if I want to focus on power and contact, where I'm going to just launch right into that shot, pop. Man, that sets them right up for that next one. So we have different methods. We have different methods of execution. Once I'm into this position, I'm going to dip. I'm going to dip that elbow. I'm using my triggers to help that launch. But just not only my upper, I want to use my lower. And I'm going to drop that. Look at that hip. I'm dropping and I'm catapulting. Dropping, catapulting. Dropping, catapulting. I always want to seek my dimensional stages of action. Depth. I'm going to seek depth. Depth, height, width. Depth. My hands going forward. So once we get this, we're basically working on isolating the moves, right? So I'm starting here. I'm going to isolate these moves so that I get the feel of this. And then come right back. So I'm going to get the flow first. Flow first, speed later. Flow. Feel it. Feel how it works for you. Keep everything tight. The push itself, doesn't matter whether it's here or here. I like the wedge. I like to come up on that wedge. And then I'll pop it out. I look at it as pairing. All I have to do is get his arms from pushing here to go past my shoulders. That's all I have to do. His head was already too close. Bam. My hands are here. I'm not going to try to bring it down. I'm going to stay right up and then catch him down low. So if he's coming in fast, I'm not going to try to readjust. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to catch him right up high. Now get that one on the bottom. But the basic idea is, I try to really teach my wife and some of the height challenge students here. She's a minor in TikTok or whatever. Everyone says, "Why do you beat up on a minor?" I'm like, yeah, that minor's probably older than you. But anyway, so I try to teach her how to generate that power, how to get that hand to move. We talk about the methods of execution. Thrust. Here's your thrust, right? Thrust. Thrust. I'm gonna start it into a whip. Start with my whip. Dip. Start with my whip dip. This is the same motion as thundering hammers. Look at this. On this last part, this thundering hammer dip. It's the same. I'm gonna dip and rotate that hip. It's the same. I look at it the same here. Not so high. I'm a low it. I'm going to dip that hand, dip that elbow. And I'm going to start it as a whip. I'm using my triggers to get it going. Once I get the triggers going, the energy flowing, I'm going to kick in the hips. And then I'm going to just catch them right back in. But yeah, you want to get that. Whether you get lower, I like to catch up higher in the floaters. And then you have this shot right in there. But the extension is nothing more than everyone's got this. It's all good fun stuff. Anyway, I don't know if I went 5 minutes or not. I don't want to keep hitting them that hard. The idea is really settle, launch, pop, launch. Get that hip going. Pop, launch into that. If you're going to launch, and then come right back out. Launch, come right back out. So have fun with it. Basics. I remember I did a seminar on basic neutral bow. This is nothing more than a basic forward bow, but being able to execute into that forward bow. Being able to launch out of that forward bow. I can do it with my hand. I can do it with my elbow. I can do it with my punch. So you're learning to launch. Launch. Use the floor as your launching pad. Guys, love you guys. I'm old. I'm tired. I'm breathing hard. You all make me nervous. Mr. Mac, love you to death, man. You guys are good. So, anyway, love the Brotherhood.
Absolutely spectacular. Spectacular.
Take the principles. This is all paperwork of the 21 concepts and principles in every technique. So we have it posted. But once you start learning the moves, you start adding, applying those principles to the moves. It helps. It just makes your Kenpo better. It makes your motion better. So I don't know what else to say.
All right, sorry I interrupted you before you were done your flow, but let me tell you something. I could see exactly what was happening there. I've been there before. You're in the middle of teaching a technique. You start to get yourself revved up, and then you just keep going. And we were the benefit of that. That was spectacular. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We're going to make it 4. We're going to make it 4. Anyway, all right, so now we get to the end portion of our show that we call Pass the Mic. This is where every instructor takes about 30 seconds just to give a final thought. Now, actually, we had not one but 2 gentlemen who had a previous engagement, Mr. Lawler and Lorenzo, both had to disappear. So we're not going to have all the presenters, but one gentleman that did show up, and we sent him a last-minute message to see if he wanted to say hello. So I'm going to pull up, and let's just say this, Alfred. Whenever you're ready, the spot's waiting for you. So, Mr. Alfred Magnan, if you could just unmute your mic. Perfect. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm hanging in there. I'll tell you what, I have been so bored for 6 days of just like practically laying in bed. I was like, I got to see the Roundtable, whether I have fever or not fever. I thought I'd play around with a little Kenpo for about 30 seconds a little earlier today, and I soon realized it wasn't a good idea. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the Roundtable, guys. Very good stuff.
Thank you very much, Alfred. We really do. We wish you all the best. Speedy recovery. And like I said, when you're back, let us know when you're back, and we'll get you back on here, because I was interested in see what you had, my friend.
Definitely will. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Alfred. And then we're going to throw it over to Michael Miller.
Check out my favorite patch. I would put it on this shirt, but that's all right. Now, gotta hide my guns. Anyway, good job today, guys. That was awesome. Mr. Kongaika, thank you, sir, for filling in for us. That was awesome. Mr. Mr. Collado, I appreciate you filling in as well there, AJ. Good stuff. Yeah, I thought it went really well today, my friends. Good stuff. And Alfred, feel better, brother. Thank you for checking it out today, even though under your conditions. And we will definitely be having you, of course. And we look forward to having you. So anyway, good stuff today, guys. Rock on.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We're going to throw it over to Monty.
Well, as usual, I'm very thankful to be in this round table, and I want to thank our guests. AJ, you made me get off, and you make me start doing your technique, dude. You got me excited. That's very cool. Mr. Larry, thank you so much for filling in today. I know it's a last minute thing. The Brotherhood, you guys, it's a beautiful movement. It's a great mind alliance. There's a bunch of people sharing their minds, sharing their ideas, and it is absolutely one of the best things you could do to each other. Okay, helping each other improve. Salute.
Thank you very much, Monty. We're going to throw it back up to Dartmouth.
Thanks a lot, Dan, and thanks to all the reaper of all the other Brotherhood instructors. That was a great time. A lot of knowledge on parting wings. Thanks, AJ. I love the application, and it was something we're going to practice. And Mr. Larry Kongaika, educational look at the basics of the technique. That was just fantastic. We had a great time. I want to thank my Ukis, Miss Laura, Mr. Brightman, and I want to thank Mr. Mark Miley for getting me this nice Brotherhood hoodie that I'm going to wear home. And I guess I'll send it on. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, everybody in Dartmouth. Brian Saul.
All right. Oh, I didn't take off my Iron Throne. So let me first start by saying thank you to everyone who joins us every time we do this. We wouldn't have a roundtable without all of you. So thank you for your support and commitment to joining us on here. Alfred, feel better, my friend. I hope you heal up. AJ, happy belated birthday, and awesome job. I love the material. I love watching what you do. Fantastic. Mr. Kongaika, I think I felt that palm heel strike. That was awesome. I could feel that through Zoom. Finally, all my Brotherhood instructor pals, family, and friends, you guys did a fantastic job today. Mr. Trejo, he's watching. He's very happy right now. Thank you, everyone. Right back to you, Mr. Mack.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Saul. I'll tell you what, I'll take it for a second here. Couple thoughts. Number one, to take you in the background, if you notice in the middle of Michael Miller's presentation, you heard Michael Miller's phone buzzing. Sorry, my dog wants in. You heard Michael Miller's phone buzzing. That was me going, Alfred's in the lobby. See if he wants to say hello. And then Sabora going, Alfred's in. But anyway, so I have to do some type of thing to tribute Mr. Trejo. And I got to be honest with you, I have difficulty still talking about him. And I'm entirely too cool to cry, so I'm going to keep it kind of light. Frank Trejo joke. I had to think long and hard before I thought of one I could share with you guys. Frank Trejo joke. One of his things that he used to like to do is, hey, when people ask me what type of karate I do, I say I don't do karate. I do Mexican judo. You know how Trejo would give you that look? He would tilt his head back, right? Mexican judo, you know. I messed it up. Mexican judo. Jew don't know if he has a gun. Jew don't know if he has a knife. So that was Frank Trejo. And then the only other thing I'll say before I toss it over to Angelo and AJ is, what the is going on?
I was going to say that myself.
Angelo and AJ.
Hey guys, thank you very much. It was an exciting day. What the is going on? Thanks for a great presentation. Alfred, I hope you get better, dude. We're praying for you. You're a strong guy. You're going to make it through this. And Brotherhood, thank you, Mr. Larry Kongaika, for filling in. And we look forward to these every time we do them. We love you guys. Thanks for the support. AJ.
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to get a good spot on here. I know it was last minute, but I appreciate it. And you guys are all awesome. I love you. I appreciate you all.
And
thank you.
We love you, Mr. Frank Trejo. I miss you like you have no idea. This has been it's tough, but
every day
we're with you. You're with us every second, every time we train. You're there, Frank. Love you, man.
All right, thank you very much. Angelo and AJ. We're going to throw it over to Steve Stewart.
Hey. It's great being on here with you guys. You guys are amazing. If Brian, Mark, and Dan remember 25 years ago when we did the first WKK demo team, at the end of our demo, we did Parting Wings with the extension. So that brought back memories. Of course, tomorrow being the day of Mr. Trail's passing.
I'm sorry, Steve. I have to interrupt. If you're going to, am I frozen on the screen here?
No.
No, okay, I'm frozen on my screen. All right, if you're going to do that, I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it. So I have a confession to make. Yes, what? I remember that demo. That day that we did that demo.
Yeah.
Remember, the WKK always practiced our demos extensively. You know, we practiced long and hard for a good solid 10 minutes before we had to do the demo. And Steve Arsenal goes, hey guys, remember Steve? Hey guys, hey man, let's do the Parting Wings extension. Everybody knows the Parting Wings extension, and everybody said yes. So I lied and I went, yeah, I know it. But we all did it as a group together, slowly, like the animated end. So I was able to fake my way through it. So anyway, I don't mean to interrupt your time. I just wanted to let you know that was when that day, at that moment, Steve, I'm confessing to you, that's when I learned that extension. All right, guys.
No kidding. But thanks for sharing that, Dan. And Mr. Larry and AJ, happy belated birthday to AJ and Mr. Larry. I don't know you, but
in his prime.
Outstanding. I learned from everyone. So great. Thank you for being on last minute.
Terry, Robin.
And everybody else, love you all.
Yeah, he was a big guy too.
Lockdown here in Canada again. Another lockdown. Who knows? But anyway, be safe. Back to you, Dan.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Now we're going to throw it over to Mr. Larry Kongaika.
Hey guys, it's always an honor to be part of the Brotherhood. It's such a huge movement. It's always good to be into a group of people that, again, same like-mindedness as far as the thought process and being able to share. And I mean, there's just really no pressure from anyone of how to do it. It's just sharing ideas of what can possibly make you better. And Kenpo's huge, but you guys all had all great stuff. Everything was phenomenal. I learned a lot. Mr. Dianfro talked about, circles of protection? That is exactly Parting Wings. Exactly Parting Wings. He pointed it out. He had them done side by side, but on a vertical line. So if you're talking about Parting Wings on a vertical line, it's that exact technique. So, and what I like about it is, like I try to tell my students, is depending on the position you are to the person, your opponent, is going to depend on what weapons is going to be available to you and what targets are going to be available, which is going to dictate, how the technique works at that point in time. So the techniques are nothing more than indexes of motion that eventually you're not going to, if you guys ever pull off a whole technique to be able to defend yourself, I hope you catch it on video because I'd love to see the whole technique done. But again, it's indexes, which means if you take bits and pieces from this technique, that technique, whatever comes out at the time that's needed, that's Kenpo. You practice so much that it's ingrained, muscle memory's in, and you just react instantaneously, and it just happens. And a lot of people say that, I've heard stories of people say that they do delayed sword, they did the block and the kick, and the guy's gone, they want to go down there, all the guys on the ground and chop them on the neck just to have closure. Doesn't need to happen. If it ends on the block and chop, then it ends on the block and chop. And I tell my guys the same thing. The techniques are really designed. If you do it, execute them correctly, you can end it on the first 2, 3 moves. 3 most. If you go beyond that, then it's a fight. And so, it's method of execution. It's how you execute it. It's how you see it. Eventually, I know I'm talking longer. Sorry, Mr. Dion.
Preach it, my brother.
I know I'm talking long. Anyway, so the idea I try to teach is we start off as a defense, but there's got to be that mind change where it starts becoming, everything becomes offense. Yep. Everything becomes offense. Even your blocks have to become aggressive offense. Mr. Parker says it himself. So when you start blocking, you start generating power to hurt their arm. You want to, everything's a target. You want to hit to inflict pain immediately. And that's just a mindset of how you start thinking. And that's Kenpo. That to me is Kenpo. And so once you start thinking that way, it's aggressive defense. Once you start thinking that way, then your Kenpo starts exploding even more. It starts expanding more. It's no longer being passive. You're being defensively aggressive. I don't know how else better to put it. We don't want to say that we're always aggressive because that could be a bad thing and you can end up in jail somehow. But anyway, you guys, love you guys. Thank you to the Brotherhood. Super thanks to, those that keep it going, Mr. Chan, Mr. Mack, Mr. Saul, Mr. Dionfro. There's so many of you guys, Mr. Miller. I'm part of the Brotherhood. I follow you guys. I watch everything you guys do. I love your videos. I learn from you guys. You guys are my seniors. So I learn from you.
Hey, man, we just love having you around. We just love having you around. And shout out to your whole crew over there. Shout out to your crew. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to throw it over to Samora.
Hey, everybody. Once again, thank you for tuning in and hang out with us on this beautiful Saturday. Mr. Larry, thank you for hopping in and joining us. AJ, awesome job. And Xavier for dropping in to say hi. I'm not sure if you guys could see him or not. But excellent session. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Please check us out on brotherhoodkenpo.com and become a member if you haven't done so. Appreciate it. And see you guys next time. Salute.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. You guys have a lovely day, and we'll catch you soon. See you later.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
See you all.
Yep. Mahalo.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye, guys.